Lesson 6.5, looking at the algebra strand, we're talking about related subtraction and division. Believe it or not, these two things are very closely related, and when you have one figured out, you'll have the other one figured out. And that is the focus of today. A reference to our Common Core standard, represent and solve problems involving multiplication and division. It's the same one we've been working on throughout the unit. Our objective today is to use repeated subtraction and a number line to relate subtraction to division. So we're going to make this connection for you today so that you can understand how division is related to subtraction. And your essential question, how is division related to subtraction, which is what I just said we were going to do. Keep this in mind because remember at the end you will be putting this into your math journal for today. So keep in mind, how in the world is division related to subtraction? Looking at our problem of the day, Melissa has 8 packages of markers. Each package has 4 markers. How many markers does Melissa have? So you're going to start with 8 packages. So 8 groups. Those are 8 packages. 4 in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, when you're doing problem solving, I want you talking these out just like I am so that you can do them. We have 4 in each one. Going back, making sure that you didn't accidentally put an extra one in there. So you have 4 plus 4 equals 8. These 2 equal 8. These 2 equal 8. These 2 equal 8. And then these 2 is going to equal 16, while these 2 equals 16. So you have 16 plus 16. So then your math problem could also be 8 times 4 equals 32. And I bet that you can think of ways that you can switch those around and to be 4 times 8 using our commutative property. And then our newly discovered one, writing division problems. And one more. All 4 of those using the same 3 numbers. So Melissa has 8 packages of markers. Each package has 4 markers. How many markers does Melissa have? Melissa has 32 markers. Okay, having your brain warmed up and ready to go, let's go ahead and dive into today's pages for the lesson. In your Go Math book, you should be on page 225. Serena and Mandy brought a total of 12 newspapers to school for the recycling program. Each girl brought in 1 newspaper each day. For how many days did the girls bring in the newspapers? Remember, when we're doing these problems, you want to go back and reread and find important facts. The total of 12 newspapers was brought to school. Each girl brought 1 newspaper each day. And then our question, how many days did the girls bring in the newspaper? I want you thinking like that and talking through each one of those so that you can make sure you're getting all the information every single time. So, how many newspapers were brought in altogether? Altogether is saying the same as total, so it is 12 newspapers. And yes, I want you to label it. How many newspapers did the 2 girls bring in all together each day? Okay, so each girl brought in 1, and we have 2 girls. So if each girl brought in 1, we know that they brought in 2 newspapers each day. Okay, don't get tricked by asking it 1. They each brought 1 because you're talking about both girls. Okay, one way to use this is to do repeated subtraction. Okay, so you're going to start with your total number of newspapers, which is 12. And you know that each one of them brought in 2 each day. So here's your total number, is 12. Then they each brought in 2 each day. So you do 12 minus 2 equals 10. Then repeat that by doing 10 minus 2 equaling 8. Repeat your subtraction problem. 8 minus 2 equals 6. Repeat your subtraction problem. 6 minus 2 equals 4. Repeat your subtraction problem. 4 minus 2 is 2. Repeat your subtraction problem. 2 minus 2 equals 0. Then you count the number of times that you subtracted those 2's. So we did the problem once here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since you subtract 2 6 times, there are 6 groups of 2 in 12. Okay? You're going to make sure to keep subtracting 2 until you get to 0. You can't leave it without being at 0 when we're making equal groups. Okay? So Serena and Mandy brought in newspapers for 6 days. To write that as a division problem, you can do it these two ways. 12 divided by 2 equals 6, or using the divisor bar, putting 12 inside, divide it by 2, you get 6. So you read it as 12 divided by 2 equals 6. Okay. Again, using the repeated subtraction, over and over again, minusing back 2 that you started with. Okay, another way you can do this, looks like part of my page got moved off here. Another way you can do this is to count backwards on a number line. Okay, so you're going to start at 12, because that was the total number that they brought in. Count back by 2's as many times as you can, and labeling them as we go. Okay, so we're going to count back by 2's. So here's 1, 2, that's 1 jump, 1, 2, 2 jumps, 1, 2, 3 jumps, 1, 2, 4 jumps, 1, 2, 5 jumps, 1, 2, 6 jumps. You jumped back by 2 6 times, which is what we just did here. So there are 6 jumps of 2 in 12. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. Use this to check it now. Is 6 times 2 equal to 12? If you believe it is and you can prove that it is, then your answer is right. Okay. Next one, explain in your own words how you found the answer. So what did you do in order to get that answer? What do your jumps of 2 represent in that problem? Okay, so each jump represents 2 newspapers. Okay, again, pause if you need to. Catch up with me with my writing. Okay. So each one of these jumps that we did up here, the 2's, are each the day that they brought in a newspaper. Remember, because they both brought in one paper. 1 times 2 is 2, so we jumped back 2 times, each one representing how many papers. Okay. They want you to practice using the number line now. So you're going to draw the rest of the jumps on the number line to complete the division equation. Remember, it's an equation because it has the equal sign of 12 divided by 4. So we're starting at 12 and we're jumping back 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So 12 divided by 4 is your 3. Now I want you to think. Is 4 times 3 12? Practicing our facts still. Write a division equation for this. So this is that repeated subtraction that they asked us to do. Okay? And if you remember, looking back here, you count how many times you jumped back in order to find out what you were dividing by. Okay? So we have 10 is our big number, divided by what you're subtracting by, equals how many times you did this. So they only had to do it twice before they got to 0. So 10 divided by 5 equals 2 is how you would read it. Now, check yourself. Is 5 times 2 10? If it is, you know that you have the right answer. Okay. Looks like on number 3, they want us to count back using the number line. So we're going to start with our end number, which is 8. And you're going to divide it by how many numbers you jumped when you were doing your division. Okay? So it looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's going to be 8 divided by 2 equals, now you need to go count your jumps. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Now think, is 2 times 4 equal to what the other number is in your problem? If it is, you know that you have it correct. So they have gone through a couple of different ways to solve these division problems of counting back on a number line and also doing the repeated subtraction that you did here. Okay, on your own, write a division equation. I'm going to go ahead and do number 4 with you. You're going to take your big number, 28, divided by what you're subtracting, and then count how many times you did it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's your answer? Okay. Number 6 is exactly the same with different numbers. Number 5, you're going to start with your big number, the number that's at the end of here, and you're going to count how many jumps you do. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to check it just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 equals how many jumps you have to give you this answer. Number 7 is the same. You will complete number 6 and 7 on your own and finish filling in 4 and 5 when we're done with the lesson. Number 8, write a word problem that can be solved by using one of the division equations above. Okay, so take a minute to look at those equations. Okay, and we're going to do writing a word problem. Okay, so I'm going to say Molly has 28 cookies, and she wants to make equal groups. So she's going to share them equally. If she has 7 friends, how many does each one get? Do something similar with that. You can use number 4, 5, 6, or 7 once you have them figured out. You're just using the numbers that are in here. So I had 28, and I have 7, and now I need to figure out what this missing number was. Okay? On the bottom, for 9, 10, 11, and 12, it shows you the 2 different ways to write division equations. Okay? And it showed you 2 different ways to solve them today. So it wants you to use repeated subtraction or a number line to solve. Yes, you have to do that, and yes, you have to show your work. You have space right here to draw either a number line or to do those repeated subtraction problems. You're going to do 9, 10, 11, and 12 at the end of this lesson. Let's turn quickly to page 228, and we're looking at problem solving using a graph for number 13 and 15. Just like every lesson, we're going to start by spending time looking at your graph. The title of our graph is Box Top Collections. Along the y-axis here, we have the number of box tops that must have been collected. And along the bottom, we have individual students that collected box tops. If you look along the y-axis, you see that it's labeled 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, which means that each one of those bars is a representation of 5s. Okay? With that in mind, now we are ready to look and start solving 13 through 15 using that graph. Number 13, Matt puts his box tops in 2 equal piles. So we're looking at Matt and we're looking at 2 piles. How many box tops are in each pile? So if we look at Matt, Matt has 10 total box tops and he broke them into 2 piles. How many box tops are in each pile? You can do the strategies that we've learned so far by repeated subtraction. You can use a bar model. You can act it out using the drawings, or you can use the repeated subtraction. I'm going to do my act out, and I'm going to use the counters that I can draw. So I have 2 groups, and I'm going to count out 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I know that how many box tops are in each pile is how many is in each one of these groups, because those are my piles. So I have 5 box tops. Now, you may choose how to solve this problem, but I want to see your work in this beautiful white space. Number 14, we're talking about Paige this time. So Paige brought an equal number of box tops to school each day for 5 days. Alma also brought in an equal number of box tops for 5 days. How many box tops did the 2 students bring in all together each day? Okay, so I need to look at how many Paige brought. Paige brought in a total of 25. I'm just going to write a P for Paige and write 25. So she brought that many in for 5 days. So 25 divided by 5. Again, you choose how you're going to solve that. Are you going to act it out in drawing it? Are you going to do repeated subtraction? Some way that you can show and prove that you know 25 divided by 5 equals something. Okay? Alma brought in an equal number. So Alma, I'm going to represent with an A, is 20, and she also did it for 5 days. So again, find out what that number is. Then it wants to know how many they brought in all together. All together is one of those math words that tells us if we need to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. All together tells us we're going to add. So you will take these 2 numbers and add them together to find out what is here. Okay? You will finish that in just a moment. Number 15, you're going to write the question. It gave you the answer. Dwayne puts all of his box tops into bins. He puts an equal number in each bin. The answer is 5. What is the question? So something like, how many box tops did Dwayne put into 3 bins? Something like that you can answer using this. The answer is 5. Okay. So again, looking at Dwayne up here, he has 15. What could the answer be that the answer is, or what could the question be that the answer is 5? Okay. Then your last one, Maya collected 7 box tops each day. She collected 21 box tops in all. For how many days did Maya collect them? So you're going to have 21 divided by 7 equals something. Okay. At this point, I'm going to leave you. You are going to go back and you are going to complete this page. I did 4 and 5 with you. You can choose to do it a little bit different for 6 and 7, and then to complete 8 through 12 on this page. Then going to page 228, you're going to finish number 14, 15, and 16. You may choose to solve number 13 in a different manner if you didn't like how I drew it out with my method. And then you're going to go and you are going to finish your essential question. How is division related to subtraction? Think specifically about that number line. What does this have to do with subtraction, and how did that help us with division? And also your repeated subtraction. How did that relate to division? Those 2 things are very closely related. These 2 are very good examples of how they are. Think about those. And in your math journal, you are going to write, that was lesson 6.5 and the date. Then you're going to write the essential question, copy it in here, and then give me your explanation. Division is related to subtraction by, and then give me an example of like drawing a number line or the repeated subtraction. Then draw your line, and here's your math journal. Copy your prompt into there. Explain why you can use subtraction to solve a division problem. So again, kind of just rewording what's up here. Why did this work and how can you use it? Okay? Also think about how you can check them when you're doing these. Okay, if you need to go back and review any section of this before you answer your essential question or do your math journal, that would be a great strategy. If not, go ahead and complete those pages and we will check them together. This is halfway through the chapter, so tomorrow you'll be doing your mid-chapter checkpoint. So if you want to review any lessons of 6.1 through 6.5, that might be a good strategy to prepare you for that checkpoint grade.